Hey, good morning and welcome to Byers Assembly. My name is Aaron, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today and over the last few weeks. And I'm just curious, if you have never been in a physical service with us, but you have been online with us for the first time over the last 8 weeks, would you just throw a hand wave or a smiley face or something in the chat? We know there are lots of people from literally all across the area and even other states that are with us. And so we just want you to just say hi. We would love to get to know you in the chat, and so just drop something there. Let us know that you're here, and we want to say thank you for joining us. We hope to get to meet you face to face in the future. If you have a Bible today, you can turn to Proverbs 16, verse 9. This has been our key verse for this series titled Change of Plans. And this is the last week of this series. We'll be kicking off a new series next weekend. But this idea came from this verse for this series. In Proverbs 16:9, we have a kid doing some motions for you. Some of our kids ministry kids doing the motions for you with this verse. So check out this video.
We make our own plans, but the Lord determines our steps.
We make our own plans, but the Lord determines our steps.
All right, as you just heard, Proverbs 16:9 says this: we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And if there's anything that I'm learning during this season, it's that we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. No matter how good our plans are, no matter how much we think we know what is going on, what is happening, God has a way of taking us in a different direction at times. He has a way of allowing us to go down a different path at times. He has a way of directing our steps. And our big idea through this series has been this: God's steps are greater than our plans. No matter how good my plans are, I want to make sure that I'm living by this idea that God's steps are greater than our plans. You see, no matter how good my plans are, I know that God's steps are greater than my plans. No matter how good my plans are, I know that God has a way of doing things that is higher than mine, that is better than mine, and I want to put my trust in Him even whenever it doesn't make sense, even when it's uncertain. And so we've been living and talking about this idea of God's steps being greater than our plans throughout the last 5 weeks. And we're just going to close that out today with a title called From Palace to Platform. From Palace to Platform. And so as we talk about this today, I just want to just give you a few thoughts, real quick thoughts from a story in the Old Testament. Before I do, I just want to ask a couple questions. One is this: have you ever had a time where you thought that it was all about you? Do not point at the person across the living room right now. Have you ever, not has someone in your house, have you ever had a moment or had a thought that, man, this is all about me? Obviously, every single person has had a moment in their life, probably multiple moments in their life, maybe multiple moments this week, where you thought, it's about me. This is all about me. And we all have these moments. We all have these thoughts. I think about a time as a kid. I was really young. I vaguely remember this. I had to text my sister to make sure that I had kind of the facts right. And I remember as a kid, my parents gave me a gift. And it was the coolest gift of all time as a kid. It was a Jeep Power Wheels. And if you've seen the new Power Wheels, now, they have remote control ones, parents can be safe and stuff and control where their kids go. Old school Power Wheels, you just put your kid in there, let them go, let them run over the mailbox, let them run wherever. There was no stopping them. You didn't have an emergency brake on these things. They would just go wherever. And I thought it was the coolest toy in the world. And my parents gave it to me, and I thought it was awesome. And then all of a sudden, these words came after them giving me this toy that really, looking back, I think it scarred me for life, actually. They said, this isn't just for you. This is also for your sister, my younger sister. You need to let her ride with you. You need to let her use it as well. And I remember in that moment as a kid thinking to myself, but I thought it was all about me. And I think as adults and as teenagers and as kids, we have these moments where we think, man, this is awesome. This is all for me. This is all about me. And then we have these change of plan moments, and we a lot of times realize, wow, it really isn't about me. And today, as we look through some of the Old Testament, we're gonna talk about this a little bit. And I just want to ask you this question: what if this change of plan season, or what if these change of plan moments that we've been going through, what if they're not all about you? What if God has allowed a change of plans not to benefit you, but to better you? Let me ask that again. What if God has allowed a change of plan season not to benefit you, but to better you? What if he isn't doing something necessarily for you, but he's wanting to do something in you? You see, as we look at the Old Testament, we find a story, and if you're in the Bible reading plan with us, you just read this story, but it's in the book of Esther. And in this story, we find, it's one of the coolest stories in the Old Testament, in the whole Bible, really. We find this young girl, a very dramatic situation, and it's an incredible story that plays out. But I just want to kind of give you some backstory of the book of Esther. If you're in chapter 1 of Esther, you find that there's this king. His name is Xerxes. He's King Xerxes of Persia, and he has this queen named Vashti. And through a series of events, the king is not happy with his queen, and so he banishes Queen Vashti from his presence. But then in chapter 2, we find out that now there's no queen in Persia. So Xerxes, he has to find a queen. So the palace, they host like Persian Bachelor. And they're like, bring all these women in, all these young girls in. And they're pretty much lining them up for the king to pick which one he wants to become his queen. And Esther, she competes in this Persian Bachelor, if you will. And all the ladies end up kind of getting sent home. But there Esther is, she's receiving that final rose. And she has been deemed the queen of Persia. And we see that through this process, Esther was actually a Jew in Persia, but she kept her nationality private. She kept it a secret. And in this process, her cousin Mordecai actually saves the king from being assassinated throughout this whole process. And so we got Esther, who's now the queen. She's in the palace. She's in this position of queen, and she's been selected, but no one knows that she's Jewish. And then we have her cousin Mordecai, who is one of the officials. He's also Jewish, but in this process, he saves the king from being assassinated. And then you jump to chapter 3, same book, Esther, and we see King Xerxes. He promotes a man named Haman to be his top official. So now you got Haman as a top official. Mordecai is also an official, and Esther is queen. Well, Mordecai refuses to bow down to Haman. It made Haman angry. He was so furious. He was so mad. And so he actually plots to not only kill Mordecai, but to kill all of Mordecai's people, all of the Jews. He wants to kill all of the Jews living within Persia. And so then he goes to King Xerxes. He says, hey, king, do you realize there's a group of people living among us? They live very differently than us. They have different laws, different routines, different things, and they're very different from us. I don't think that we should allow them to keep living here. One of them is refusing to do what he's supposed to do even. And so the king says, okay, well then what do you plan to do? And Haman says, I think we should kill them all. And so he issues a decree, and the king signs it with his signet ring. He seals it, and he says, go ahead and go through with your plot. And so then in chapter 4, we pick up this story where Esther is queen, Mordecai as her cousin is in fear of all of the Jews in all of Persia, and we see something kind of miraculous really actually happen. Mordecai learns about this decree, and he realizes all the Jews in Persia, they're in some serious danger. And so he goes to Esther, who is now the queen, and he says, hey, Esther, you're going to have to go talk to the king. You're going to have to go before the king. You're going to have to go, you're in the palace. You're going to have to go and you're going to have a conversation, because if you don't have a conversation, he's not just going to wipe out all of your people. He's going to wipe out you and me too. We're all going to be gone. And so she goes in before the king, and we see something miraculous happen. I want you to check out this video to see how the rest of this story plays out. Check out this animated video.
There once was a woman named Esther, who was a queen in a far-off land called Persia. But Esther was Jewish, and God had a plan for her life in this land. Queen Esther heard of a terrible plan that an evil man named Haman had formed against her people. But Queen Esther was very brave, and she risked her own life for her people when she realized what was at stake. Esther chose to speak up for what she believed in, and even though she was very scared, she went to meet the king while he was with Haman and said, "If I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request, I ask that my life and the lives of my people be spared." The king was shocked that someone would try to hurt his queen, and he said, "Who would do such a thing to you?" Queen Esther said, "The wicked Haman is our enemy." Haman grew pale with fright, for his plot had been discovered. the king jumped to his feet in anger, and Haman was sent to be executed. The king sent a decree across the land, and the Jewish people rose up to defeat anyone who tried to harm them. Wherever the king's decree was read, the Jews rejoiced and had a great celebration. To this day, the Jews celebrate this holiday of Purim every year, remembering the bravery of Queen Esther and the power of God.
So we see Esther, she's in the palace, and she had this change of plans. I mean, she was just a young girl, and now all of a sudden she's the queen. That's a pretty awesome change of plans. But then she has another change of plans where now one of the king's top officials wants to execute all of her people, and her cousin says, hey, you have to step up. You have to do something about this. You can't set back. You can't just wait back. You can't just hold on. There's got to be a change of plans happen. There has to be something shift. And so where she thought, man, I just get to live it up as queen. This is awesome. Like, how cool would that be? I get to be queen. I get to be the one in charge. I get to be the one that's there with the king. I'm in that position. I'm in that role. And she thought, I'm sure in that moment it was awesome. But now all of a sudden she finds herself in a change of plans where it's not just about being queen. She has to go before the king, and she has to ask a very difficult question. In verse 13 of chapter 4, we see this conversation with her and her cousin Mordecai. Mordecai says this. He says, Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in this palace, you will escape when all the other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this? I just want to take a moment and say, he says, perhaps you were made for such a time as this. Perhaps you were made for such a time as this. Let me say, Esther, she's in the palace, and she's living it up as queen. And she's in a role and in a position that is prestigious, and she's in an awesome place. And all of a sudden there's this change of plans. And literally history is about to shift drastically if she doesn't step in and do something about it. And she has a decision to make, and she has to decide, am I going to step into this role, or am I just going to continue living the lavish life that I've lived and just take a chance, or am I going to step into the role or maybe the purpose that God has for me here? You see, in this moment, the platforms that God gives us, they're not about us. The platforms that God gives us, the places that God puts us, they're not about us. They're always about other people. I want to do something really, really quick. It's going to be kind of fun. Just go ahead and smile because you need to do it before we do this. I want you to repeat after me. I'm going to say something. I want you to repeat after me. It'll be really good for your soul and maybe good for everyone sitting around you. Just be lighthearted about it for a second. I want you to repeat after me. It's not. Go ahead. It's not about me. Let's do it one more time. It's not about me. That's a liberating thing to say, and also a very scary thing at times to say. Esther is in a position that was really about her. She's queen. And then there's this massive change of plans that come, and now she has to make a decision. Am I going to let this be about me, or am I going to let this be about other people? Am I going to let it be about me, or am I going to let it be about other people, God's people? And we see that in this moment. She isn't just in a place. She has a platform to be able to stand in and be able to make a difference, to be able to change history, to rewrite history. And God's given her this platform. And let me just say today, you have a platform. Maybe your platform is a parent. Maybe your platform is that you're a teacher. Maybe your platform is that you're a coach. Maybe your platform is that you're a grandparent or a boss or a friend. Maybe your platform is that you're a neighbor, which is probably everyone. Your platform may be that you're a teammate. Maybe your platform is that you're a sibling, and you don't view that as a platform at all. You view that maybe as prison, but it's a platform. It's a platform, and God's given you that platform. Let me just say that no matter the platform, it's always for other people. It's never just about you. It wasn't just about Esther. It wasn't just about her being queen. It was about other people and her serving other people. In this change of plans, although I bet in the moment, I bet she was so disappointed. She had just won Persian Bachelor. And she's queen. And now she's going to have to take a chance on getting killed by going to the king. But if she doesn't go to the king, she's probably going to get killed too. And so she has to make this very difficult decision. She has to say, man, is this going to be about me? Or is it about other people? Your platform, no matter what it is, it's always for others. Esther's plan was, to win Persian Bachelor, which she did. Become queen, which she did. But God said this, the palace is just the place that will lead you to your platform. I want to say that again. The palace is just the place that will lead you to your platform. Let me just say for a moment, maybe this COVID-19 season is just the place that's going to lead you to your platform. Maybe this season where everything seems to be very different, and is very different, is just the place that God's going to use to lead you to your platform. She thought the palace was for her, but it wasn't about her at all. It was just a platform that God wanted her to stand on to save his people. And too many times I find that we think it's about us. My name is Aaron, and I think it's about me. Okay, there's my confession. My name is Aaron, and a lot of times I think it's about me. And if there's anything I've learned through this season, it's that in the change of plan moments, it's not about me. As a follower of Jesus, it's not about me. It's about other people. It's about using the platforms that God's given me to serve other people, to love other people, to help other people know Jesus and grow together and invest in others. And sometimes the place that we're in, mentally, physically, whatever, that place that you're in is just to get you to the platform that God can use for you to serve other people. And maybe this season is just the place that will lead you to your platform. And that's when I ask you, how are you leveraging your platform? How are you leveraging it to help other people know Jesus? How are you leveraging it to help other people grow together? How are you leveraging your platform to help invest in others? How are you leveraging the things that God's given you, the places that God's put you, the past that God's brought you from to help other people? How are you leveraging it? You see, God can turn your place into a platform. He can turn your physical location into a platform. He can turn your job into a platform. He can turn your relationships into a platform. He can even turn your pain and your guilt and your shame into a platform. He can also turn literally anything that you're going through, any struggle that you're dealing with, any moment that you're in, he can turn it into a platform. But maybe you're here and you're going, man, Aaron, this season has rocked me. This season, this change of plans, it's messed with me. My emotions are all over the place. I'm struggling with depression. I'm frustrated at government. I'm tired of decisions. I'm annoyed with my spouse. I'm whatever. And God's going, hey, I'm positioning you not just for you, but I'm setting it up to you to have a platform to help other people. And maybe just like Esther, we find ourselves in a place, in a platform to help others. You see, your platform has a purpose. Your platform, it has a purpose. And even if you don't know what your platform is yet, I believe through this season, God's gonna position you to where you go, you know what, that's a platform for me. And it might be from your pain. It might be from a physical location. It might be from something that you're dealing with mentally. But God's going, hey, that platform's gonna have purpose. It's gonna have purpose. So to close out today, I wanna ask you a couple questions. This is a real honest gut check moment. Have you made this season all about you? I don't say that I don't ask that question to condemn you or to be like, you shouldn't do this. I ask that question from a genuine, honest, I love you heart. Have you made it about you when it was never about just you? Maybe it was about God using you, platforming you to help other people. But the selfishness and the frustration and the annoyance of all the stuff happening allowed us to make it all about us. And if that's you today, let me say, maybe you just need to have a moment and say, God, will you forgive me for being selfish? Will you forgive me for making it all about me? And maybe there's people in your life that they've been listening to you for the last 4-8 weeks. And you need to say to them, I'm sorry. I made this way more about me than it ever should have been. Maybe you just need to have a moment with your family today to say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? I didn't mean to make this about me. I know this season was different and I'm sorry for that, but I want to come out of it better. I want to come out of it, not just for my benefit, but better. And And then for all of us today, I just want us to take a moment and I just want you to ask God, what platform do I have that I can use to serve other people? What platform do I have that I can use to serve other people? You see, Esther, she ended up using her platform. She goes to the king grants her permission. She saves all of the Jewish people. She leveraged the platform that God had given her. So what platform has God given you? And how are you going to leverage it to serve other people during this season and future seasons? If you're not sure what that platform is yet, let me just say, this is a moment to say, God, what is that platform? And how do you want me to use it? Let me pray over you today. God, I love you and I thank you, God. Lord, I ask for forgiveness right now for the times over the last few weeks that I've made it about me. But it never was about me. It's still not about me. And I just say I'm sorry for ever making it about me. God, I pray that today as people who are watching with us online, that God, if they've made it about them, if they've struggled with a selfish heart over the last few weeks, I pray that God today, you would purify their heart, that God, they have pure motives, they have right motives, that God, you would do something powerful in them, transform them in this moment, that God, it would change their family, it would change their home, it would change their place of work, God, because they shift from a selfish heart to a selfless heart. And God, I pray that we would leverage our platforms. Every person listening today and in the future, that we would leverage our platforms. Whatever skills, whatever place, whatever pain we went through, God, that we would leverage that platform to help other people know Jesus, grow together, and invest in others. Whatever things you blessed us with, we would leverage them. Whatever things you've taught us, we would leverage them. Whatever things you set us free from, we would leverage them. Not for our benefit, but for others. And God, we love you and we thank you and we praise you today. We're so grateful. We're so grateful for who you are. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for joining us today. We would love to connect with you. If you've never made a decision to follow Jesus, we would love to help you, walk you through that decision. You can message us right now if you want to, or you can join our Zoom call. We would love to walk you through that. And we have a book for you called Following Jesus. We would love to put in your hands. Stick around with us just for a second. We want to make one more announcement in our outro today, just letting you know about some things that we're going to be doing as a church. So stay with us for a second.